So the question today is the term rent-a-cop, is that a slur or is that a positive thing? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
You could argue Paul Blart is a slur, like
I get Paul Blart and I get Craig and Day Day all the time. But you know, the thought around a rent-a-cop, I kind of think that it's like I don't want to say that it's a positive, but the idea around it is not a negative idea. The thought process, this is how I view it, right? The thought process is that law enforcement is not going to show up. Either they're not going to show up or they can't be here at the time that something happens. The exact moment that something happens, whether that's shoplifting, whether that's somebody being aggressive, whether that's somebody breaking into a building, at that exact moment, a law enforcement officer is not there. We need to rent a cop and have them here to answer whatever that threat, whatever that issue is. So to me, like it's not a negative. It's kind of the connotation that it's taken on. I don't know, but what do you think about that?
I mean, you know, it has while the meaning of it isn't necessarily bad, the implication that people use it for is meant to be derogatory. I don't think people think about it like that. I think they think of it as like, you know, like a rental car can be crappier than like, you know, used, beat up, whatever, than going out and buy a car.
Yeah.
So a rent-a-car is like, you know, the cheap trash it solution versus a rent-a-cop is like the cheap trash it cop, you know.
Much like a rental car, you try and trash a rent-a-cop and it can cost you. You trash a rental car, you're gonna pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Trash a rent-a-cop.
Pay for that insurance.
Yeah, people should have like you know, insurance coverage to interact with a rent-a-cop. You know. Yeah, it's crazy how you can't change the perception or the connotation in the way that a term or a phrase is used. But for me, it's important for the security guard. I'm having these conversations for security guards, not for the general public. So do you view yourself, if someone says that you are a rent-a-cop, do you view that as a negative? Do you view that term as a slur or derogatory, right? For me, I don't see it that way. Again, I gave my opinion of it. You're renting someone to be there at the exact moment that something happens. Someone is needed and the cops can't show up fast enough or refuse to show up. Therefore, we rent a cop. So to me, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
And sometimes it varies based on the training and certifications and the policy of the security guard. Some people, you know, they are a rent-a-cop where they're hands-on, maybe they're armed, you know, maybe they're body armored up, much like people here at Echelon who like go to the nth degree to take care of their community and their clients. Or you're just the equivalent of a CCTV with legs and a voice.
And, you know, in certain areas, you actually can rent a cop. You can actually utilize an off-duty police officer as a security guard. And I know a lot of places do that. Portland, I don't believe does that anymore, which is why the number of security guards has kind of
gone up.
Yeah, it kind of skyrocketed in this area.
Well, kind of taken over like some typically more like not as you see a lot more armed security in places than you typically would, where now the term bouncer is no longer like, I don't know, a few of the clubs I've gone to, a few of the bars I've gone to, the bouncers there aren't necessarily like your traditional bouncer. They look like a normal armed security officer. So,
which I find interesting because, like, you know, the idea around nightclubs and strip clubs and, you know, party venues, things like that, it doesn't bring a positive image to my mind. But I don't think that there's as negative of a connotation to the term bouncer as there is with security guard.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You know, oh God. There's the transit officers as well. You know, I don't know. Some cities I know vary based on the deputization of transit officers. Whenever I was in Eugene, I think transit officers were like actual cops put on transit duty. I could be wrong about that. But then versus here in Portland, I'm pretty sure they are a private security hired by Triangle.
Yeah. So, you like if you were to meet a girl at a club and she's like, "What do you do for work?" and you're like, "I'm a bouncer." Like Jake Gyllenhaal in Roadhouse, like
big,
Patrick Swayze,
big,
yeah.
tough dude gonna grab people by the
Oh my God,
throw them out of the building.
do you know karate? You're a bouncer. like the image of being a bouncer is so much cooler in the general society than being like, yeah, I'm a security guard. People are like what? You're a security guard? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's such a crazy variety because you have everywhere from bouncers and transit security to my brother was a security guard at the Naval Yard.
Right.
And he worked with guys security guys who walked around with patrol rifles.
Yeah, yeah. If you're
and they're trying to make sure that people from the Philippines aren't illegally coming off of their ship.
Go and look at I'm not telling you to do this, but nuclear facility security guards, they are super trained and they're walking around with M4s and AR-15s and
maritime security.
100%, yeah.
But the crazy thing is everything that we just talked about all falls under the definition of armed security.
Right.
So it's and it's gotten so synonymous nowadays that a lot of it looks the same.
Which I think
the meaning behind it is so different.
But part of it is on us too, because the guys who are doing maritime security or nuclear security, they don't refer to themselves as security guards.
No.
I don't think a nuclear facility security guard tells people I'm a security guard. He's like, I do armed protection at a nuclear facility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I do armed protection on a maritime vessel. I feel like most people who find themselves at that higher echelon, no pun intended, of security jobs, they don't refer to themselves as security guards. A Secret Service agent is a security guard.
Technically, yeah. They are, yeah.
That's executive protection is another term that people use. You're a security guard. You're a personal security guard for a dignitary or, a politician.
I'm going to throw this at you. Where do you draw the line between security guards and security forces?
Well,
because
when I was in the Air Force,
that's how I knew some of the guys who have worked maritime security. Before I bummed my back, I was looking into potentially doing maritime security, and they referred to themselves as maritime security forces. They were, I don't like you were saying, they won't call themselves a security guard. They referred to them as forces, and I'm like, interesting. And I'm like, how does that work? And they
because it sounds more like special
military
forces.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
And
yeah.
It's and I asked them wow, is that what you guys call yourselves? I'm like, no, that's what the trade is called. I'm like, that interesting. So where do you guys draw that line? And they said, well, typically if a security guard is a team of maybe 5 to 10 people who rotate on and off on a shift on a site, security forces is we are moving as a force with this objective, whether that's guarding an embassy overseas and there's 50 of us, or we're guarding a ship and there's 20 or 30 of us. There's a rank structure in place and stuff.
I mean, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's
I guess
it's just interesting,
Practically, if you're guarding something, you're a guard.
By definition.
Or if you're guarding a location or you're guarding property, but if you're enforcing something or if you're interacting or you're mobile, then that would be more of an officer, in my opinion. But the blanket umbrella would be under security guard, I guess.
Yeah.
But most people just don't feel comfortable saying that. I want people to embrace being a security guard. That's why I don't run from that title. And oddly enough, on social media, people will comment on my videos and they'll say, "You're just a security guard. You're just a security guard." And I go, that's literally the name of my channel. You found the video on the security guard channel. I don't put the security officer channel, the security forces channel. It's the security guard channel. I'm completely okay with saying that I'm a security guard. That's not a negative to me. Yeah,
exactly.
What do you guys think? Is rent a cop? Is that a negative term? You personally working in security, have you embraced that term, or have you kind of said, look, I don't go by that. I think that's negative. I think that's a disrespectful way to refer to me. And we've had this conversation in many different forms, but specifically the phrase rent-a-cop. What do you guys think about it? Where do you stand on it? Drop your comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. Please, if you're working out in the field, watch your back. check your 6, and as always, be great. All right, you guys take care. All right,
You got anything else?
that's it.